Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have to start off by asking you a question. Is God at work in the Maritimes or what? Who was here this afternoon and watched the baptisms? Was that powerful? God is doing big things around here. I'm pumped about that. Praise God. So tonight is our last night in the Blinding Faith mini-series. And what we've been doing is usually what you hear when it comes to Christianity is, oh, you have blind faith. You believe in a God for no reason other than the fact that you have your Bible and you have this faith in your Bible. But what we are trying to do this week is we're trying to establish reasons for the faith that's in us that are so bright, that are so attractive, that is literally blinding to others, giving us a blinding faith. And you remember the verse we focused on? 1 Peter 3:15, which says, when you sanctify the Lord in your hearts, you will always be ready to give a what? A reason for the hope that is in you. So when we sanctify the Lord inside of us, we should have a reason for our faith. And that's what we did this week. We looked at these reasons for the hope that is in us. We started the first night with looking at the origin of the universe. Then we looked at the origin of life. We looked at what we call the language of God inside of our genome, inside of our DNA. Then we looked at the fossil record, and we also looked at two philosophical problems. The problem of pain, and where is God in our dark times? Just to summarize what we've looked at this week, to let this impress into your mind. In Earth's origins, it's said by Francis Collins, the man who sequenced the human genome, that our existence in this universe depends on numerous cosmological constants and parameters. If even a single variable, if anything was slightly off, we would what? We would not exist. And do you remember the statistics I gave you for this? You literally had a better chance to fire a handgun across the universe, and hit a target the size of a quarter than you did to get life on this earth. And why is that? Well, the Bible tells us in Genesis that when God created, He saw everything that He made, and it was what? It was very good. It was perfect for life. And how did He create us? Could God have blinked us into existence? Could God have thought us into existence? But He chose to what? Speak us into existence. Now, why do we communicate? There's three reasons, according to science, why humans communicate. One is to interact and to be understood. Two, to express ourselves. And three, to develop a what? Relationship. So by God speaking us into existence must mean that He wants to interact with us. He wants to express Himself and His love towards us. And He wants to develop a relationship. In the act of creation, God was a God of relationship. Next, we looked at the language of God. And inside of us, we all have cells. And inside of cells, do you remember what there was? DNA. And inside of DNA, we found a code, an actual language of base pairs. And it's so interesting again, because how did God create? God said, and it was so. God spoke us into existence and literally wrote a language of love inside of each one of you. Did you know that no two genomes are the same? Each genome, each code, each language is specifically written in each side of us. God is speaking a language of love into each one of you. In the origin of life, we looked at the chances of developing a cell. According to science, in the evolutionary model, what did we need in order for life to begin? You remember? A single what? Yes, a single self-replicating cell. And inside of cells, there were proteins. So then we asked, what are the chances of even getting one protein? Do you remember the odds? 1 chance in 10 to the power of 77. Which means that this is the percent of a chance you have to get one cell created randomly. Let's put this back into perspective. Do you remember how many atoms were in the whole universe? 10 to the power of 77. You have the exact same chance of randomly selecting one marked atom out of the whole universe as you do to get one protein. Do you remember how many proteins you needed for a simple cell? 250. This is because it shows a thing called specified complexity. Just like a written language, how you have to arrange number or letters in a specific way to get meanings of words, you need to arrange base pairs inside of us. And proteins need to fold a certain way in order for them to work. When we look at a language or when we look at code, it shows evidence of intelligence. Specificity shows design. And design demands a designer. And thankfully for us, we have a divine designer. We then looked at the fossil record. And we looked at two major discoveries in the fossil record. The Burgess Shale and the Chen Jiang fossil find. And we saw, according to Richard Dawkins, the world's most prominent atheist right now, that according to the fossil record, it doesn't actually document evolution. Dawkins says it is as though the fossils were what? Just planted there without any evolutionary history. And then we noted that God created kinds. And when you actually look at the fossil record, you see that there are created kinds with no evolutionary history whatsoever. God's evidence was literally solidified in the fossil record. We then went on and looked at the problem of pain. Why does pain exist? And we realized that if God is truly love, that love requires what? Freedom. Because if you didn't have freedom to love, it is no longer love. Love requires freedom. And freedom involves risk. It involves the risks of not returning that love. And risk gives us what? Responsibility. We saw that in allowing the possibility of evil, God was allowing the only true possibility of having true love. If love was forced, then it would no longer be love. But as soon as you allow the option to choose love, you allow the option to choose against love. And that allows the possibility of evil. The answer to the problem of pain was not found in a philosophical argument. It was found in a man that hung on a cross. After this week, after going all of these scientific and philosophical points, I hope that you feel confident in saying, where is the one who is wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the debater of this age? Has God not made foolish the wisdom of this world? This is because the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And the knowledge of Him gives us understanding. Ladies and gentlemen, God has left evidence, not only left evidence of His existence, but He's also left evidence of His love for you in His creation. I'm going to ask you tonight, will you stand for the God that not only died, but that now still lives for you? And although I've given you evidence of God throughout this week, I hope you accept Jesus into your hearts today, because the greatest evidence of God is the evidence of a changed life. Thank you.